And I think just in order to get the full understanding of what has happened over the past year, we need to look back a little bit further. We had the strong rally in oil prices during the first part of the millennium, driven by a big increase in demand from China. We came up to 2011 and suddenly the Arab Spring kicked off. We had numerous geopolitical risks removing oil from the market, all resulting in a volatile, but at the same time a relatively stable oil price. We stayed around $110 Brent crude for nearly 4 years, or at least 3 years. And within that period of time, we had the overthrow of Gaddafi, we had sanctions against Iran, we had the war in Syria, we had renewed wars in Libya, and we had the ISIS militants in Iraq last year. But all in all, it left prices stable at 110. And if you look at these events, oil price should not have been 110, it should probably have been close to $150. And the big difference there is obviously this one. The big increase that we've seen in US shale production since 2011. So while we at the end of, well, actually a year ago in March last year, we had probably the biggest amount of supply disruptions in oil markets since 1991. And despite of this, we had unchanged prices due to the big rise in US production, helping to offset the supply disruptions elsewhere. And that's obviously the trigger, because when suddenly some of these supply disruptions starts to fade, we start to see increased production again from some of these OPEC countries, the market was suddenly left oversupplied. And what followed was a big drop in price to down to $50. And instead of cutting production as OPEC has done in the past, they basically realized that we cannot control oil prices at this stage because we have a new supply in the market from the US, which is very agile and can very quickly adapt to price changes, and that is from that perspective they went for market share instead of going instead of trying to stabilize the price, and that's where we are today. So we really have this three-way call it battle out. It's not a war, but it's a battle for market share. We have and within OPEC we obviously have fractions as well, because we have the poor nations against the rich nations. And at the moment, obviously, the OPEC's policy is determined by Saudi Arabia, led by its other Gulf state neighbors, whereas we have Venezuela, Nigeria, Iraq, and Iran, obviously, all wanting a higher oil price. In the middle of this, obviously, we have Russia being squeezed because of the oversupply that we're seeing coming into the market. Prices have fallen dramatically. Russia, just like Saudi Arabia, are not prepared to cut production at this stage, because obviously they need the revenues that they can get, and this basically means that we need to look elsewhere to find a floor in the oil market.